What is going on, guys? My name is Aaron, and this is the Game Day Hour. Welcome back to another episode, episode 22, week 5 of the NFL season. Obviously, that's fantasy football, and that's NFL action. First of all, bad week for predictions. Wasn't the worst record I've had so far in any of these weeks, and ever since week 1, I haven't had great predictions so far. We're going to look over that and try to have better predictions this week. Obviously, it's a bye week. With the bye weeks now in play, I only have 13 games to look over because we're not looking over Thursday Night Football. And then we have the fantasy football matchup, which very excited to talk about. So without further ado, let's get started. I won my fantasy matchup 171 to 145. What a matchup it was for me. It started with Sunday Night Football. Jordan Love, 51. Josh Jacobs, 30. Javonte Williams, 18. And then you moved on to Monday night. While Tyreek Hill suffered a terrible injury, he still got me 6, which was pretty respectable. You had the Denver Broncos defense, which put up 44. And them holding was a big deal for me. I am 2-2 now and in 5th place, and I'm playing 4th place this week. And hopefully a win could push me up into the top 4, top 3. I really need it that badly. There's a lot of things that can go right for me. We'll see what has to happen. But before we get into that matchup, let's first look over kind of the transactions I made this week. So obviously, I had to drop Tyreek Hill, unfortunately, because the injury is one of the worst I've seen in the NFL in a hot while since Alex Smith's injury. And we've had some pretty bad ones. Dak Prescott obviously had a bad injury in 2019. This injury, to me, really reminds me a lot. I think a lot of people remember the Willis McGahee injury between Miami and Ohio State. And this injury from Tyreek Hill, even though, it's not as bad as the McGahee injury, that one was horrible. This one's up there with those kind of injuries. It's bad. And for somebody who is super fast and kills you with his legs, this has to be one of the biggest blows to a star I've seen in a long while in the NFL. And because of that, it could be a career-defining, career-ending injury for Tyreek Hill. I just hope that it doesn't turn out that way and he has a good recovery. But because he's out, and the fact that the Buccaneers are playing the Seahawks, who have a pretty good offense, I had to drop both of them. And in place, I picked up Malik Washington, who right now is playing really good with Miami, especially since he is very effective on offense and on the kick return specialties. So he's on my lineup. He's not starting this week, though. But the other one I picked up was the Cleveland Browns defense, who I will be starting. A little bit unconventional, but they've had some pretty good defensive performances. And you're playing against a Vikings team with a backup quarterback who did not play super well against Pittsburgh. The defense is a different story. Obviously, Minnesota's defense is stellar, but the offense right now isn't. So Cleveland, you're on my team. But with that said, let's get into the matchups. The matchup I have against my dad, who I'm playing this week in fantasy. So this is what is going on. Once again, another makeshift lineup. I have Kyler Murray starting because Jordan Love's on the bench, and Kyler Murray is actually playing Tennessee, so I'm pretty excited there. I have Saquon Barkley starting, and he's had 4 games this year. 3 of them, he's gone over double digit, but not super impressive, so hopefully I can get something big from him. But he is playing the Broncos defense, so that's going to be really tough. Javonte Williams is starting for the 2nd week in a row. This guy is super consistent, and I hope it stays that way against New York. And then for the first time, I'm starting Quinshawn Judkins. Pretty excited about that. Last 2 games, he's jumped over 20 points in my league, so he's going to get the starting nod because Josh Jacobs is on bye, and I don't really trust the other receivers right now. And then for the receivers, I have Rashid Shaheed and Jameson Williams, 2 guys who you wouldn't really expect to be on starting lineups, but this week is kind of an exception. I have a very busted wide receiver core right now. And then kicker is Cameron Dicker, and then the Cleveland Browns defense. I really like this lineup, but it's going to really require that my running backs have great weeks, and Kyler Murray has a stellar performance against Tennessee. But my dad's lineup is, needless to say, it's a very brutal lineup. Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Cam Scattenbow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Kavontae Turpin, Harrison Butker, and the Indianapolis Colts defense. First of all, Patrick Mahomes and Derrick Henry alone are terrifying prospects to have. Going against that's going to be really difficult, but I can do it as long as one of my players goes tit for tat for them. And if that's the case, I could win this lineup, but it's going to be really hard. He has a great quarterback, running back, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the NFL. So I got to respect that one too, unfortunately. Hopefully Jameson Williams gets more catches than Amon-Ra, but I doubt it. We'll see. But I'm projected to win by like 3 points. So we'll see. It's a very close margin. So if I lose, I won't be surprised. This is a really tough matchup. But that's enough of fantasy for today. Let's get on to the NFL action, the regular season. Let's get into the picks and projections. Last week, I went 8-8. The tie between Green Bay and Dallas, I'm counting that as a lost pick because I have done ties in the past in projections before. So if I'm going to bring them in for my predictions, I'm going to go ahead and count them as losses if I don't get them. So 8 for 8, which means my overall record right now is 37-27. Not great. I'm not doing well in predictions. Hopefully this week we can turn things around. So let's get into the predictions. Across the pond, we have Minnesota and Cleveland. Minnesota's 2-2. Cleveland is 1-3 with their only win being over Green Bay this year. The problem with this matchup is while I commend, Minnesota playing as close as they did to Pittsburgh, that comeback was almost incredible. And then, of course, you have the tough matchup. And, of course, you have the blowout that they had over Cincinnati. I mean, that was a really good matchup. And Cleveland, on the other hand, has something new that's going for them right now. Dylan Gabriel is getting his first ever NFL start. They sat down Joe Flacco. So we're going to see the former Duck, former Sooner gets his first NFL debut start. Could be nice. Doesn't have the greatest weapons around him, but he's versus Carson Wentz. Pretty sure is starting. I don't think JJ McCarthy is back just yet. So Carson Wentz is probably going to take the starting nod. This is really going to be a defensive battle. I don't think the offense are going to do much. I trust the Vikings in a game like this. Give me Minnesota to win 17-15. Really, 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 really close. The Cleveland defense will be clutch for the most part. I don't think they're going to get it done all the way. So I will take the Vikings on this one. And then we have the 1-3 Las Vegas Raiders and the 3-1 Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis just got done taking a loss to LA. It was kind of self-inflicted on two different plays. You had the Adonai Mitchell fumble in the end zone, and then I don't know how Tutu Atwell got that wide open. The Colts started undefeated, had a little close loss to the Rams, so they're still a pretty decent team overall. Facing a Raiders team which played really close to Chicago. You saw the sparks, but Geno Smith right now is having a very tough year. But you do have some offensive pieces which are playing very, very nice right now. So I do believe that this is going to be a very close game. There is a lot of talent on both ends. We're in Indianapolis. They have the better running back in Jonathan Taylor. They have overall just a much better roster up and down. Even at the quarterback position, Daniel Jones is playing better than Geno Smith, I would say. I think he is, at least. I will take the Colts to win 23-16 over the Raiders. Close game, admittedly very close, but I trust the Colts in this situation. Next up, we have the 1-3 New York Giants versus the winless New Orleans Saints. The Giants had that spark. They got Jackson Dart. Cam Scattenbow has been playing very, very well. But then you just lost Malik Neighbors, and that's the biggest blow of them all. I understand that the running game is very nice. Jackson Dart is a really good quarterback, both dual threat-wise. Scattenbow played amazing so far. You are going to become a little bit one-dimensional, in my opinion. Overall, New Orleans, they need something. They need just a little bit of a spark. They played pretty close with Buffalo for a while, so there's your spark there. It's in New Orleans. The Giants are without their biggest weapon. I will take the Saints to win 18-17. A little bit of a shot in the dark. As a matter of fact, New York looks a little bit stronger on defense, but I just think that without Neighbors, that's tough to deal with. I'll go with the Saints in this one. Next up, you have the 1-2-1 Dallas Cowboys versus the winless New York Jets. So I figured out the game plan for the Cowboys. Score a lot of points. The Cowboys got done tying the Green Bay Packers with a really good team in Micah Parsons' return, 40-40. This secondary for the Cowboys is an absolute joke. They had some sparks, but it was not pretty. Offensively, though, even though CeeDee Lamb is out, George Pickens was a beast. As far as the New York Jets go, you see that there is talent, but it is not coming together. Not at all. The defense has not played up to standard. The offense has been a little inconsistent. And because of that, I believe that the Jets are going to score a lot of points because it's the Cowboys defense. A lot of people have scored a lot of points on this defense, unfortunately. It's still not going to be enough because the Cowboys offense is very good. Give me Dallas to win 38-33. Dallas, with a win here, gets back to 500. And with Washington playing the Chargers, which is going to be really tough, and the Giants, still having to scratch their way back, Cowboys can get into second place easily. So we'll see how it goes with Dallas, but I believe they'll win against New York. Next up, we have the 2-2 Denver Broncos versus the undefeated reigning champion Philadelphia Eagles. This one is more or less the defensive showdown that fantasy has kind of been looking forward to. And the reason why I say that is because when I was first doing my fantasy coverage and looking up all the projected points and all the stats that are being projected for this year, the Broncos and the Eagles were 2 of 3 of the top defenses to look after, and now they're facing each other. Denver's defense is solid, up and down. I loved what they did against Cincinnati, though that's pretty easy. Philadelphia's defense has been kind of inconsistent, but also very clutch in many moments. And so because of that, defensively, they're very on par. The difference is on offense. Now, while Philadelphia has not been super consistent, I mean, A.J. Brown has not been playing very well, and Saquon Barkley's been a little bit shut down. In the quarterback play, Jalen Hurts has far outperformed Bo Nix. And this is the difference. I believe that the Eagles are going to be on point. They're going to win this matchup 27-19. Denver is going to struggle against really good teams this year, especially if they don't get this offense on point. Bo Nix has not looked super well. I mean, he looked great against Cincinnati, but I'm not surprised by that. Philadelphia, on the other hand, have played pretty well. Undefeated, got done with a win against Tampa Bay. They ought to be very, very confident going into a matchup against Denver. So I'll go with the Eagles. Pair of 1-3 teams. We have the Dolphins versus the Panthers. And the Panthers had that magic against Atlanta, 30-0, and then it immediately fell off like I thought it was going to. Unfortunately, that's just how it was going to be. But it was really bad. New England beat the ever-living crap out of them. As far as Miami goes, you got your first win of the year, but you lost your #1 weapon in Tyreek Hill. Though the run game is still pretty intact, so you should see a lot of production from someone like Devon Achane. And Jalen Waddle and Malik Washington will need to step up. So there is a spark there, but overall, the Dolphins have been very inconsistent this year. Luckily, they are playing the Panthers, though. And because of that, I'm going to take the Dolphins to win 24-18 over the Carolina Panthers. I believe that once I saw that big game from Carolina and then watched them drop a dud, it just reminded me who they were. And now you have a Miami team that just got done with a win against New York. They are probably in a better position to win this matchup. Next up, we have the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens both sitting at 1-3. Baltimore has been very disappointing. Lamar Jackson is suffering from an injury, and the defense for Baltimore has been an absolute joke this year. Derrick Henry has had 2 bad fumbles in crunch time. A lot of games have been lost because of him. As far as Houston goes, you got your win against Tennessee, so congratulations. But before that, the offense looked absolutely nowhere. The key indicator in this matchup for me is Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson's not there, the Baltimore Ravens, I don't think they're going to perform very well. And because of that, I'm going to take the Texans. Very unconventional pick. Most times I'm picking Baltimore in this matchup, but I think I will take the oddball to go Houston with the injury to Lamar Jackson, and they'll win 20-16. I believe that Houston will try to wrangle their way back into this division where Jacksonville's 3-1, Indianapolis is 3-1, and Tennessee is nowhere. They really have 2 teams to contend with right now. Next up, we have the winless Titans versus the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. Let's not waste your time. I have Arizona winning this matchup 27-10. Tennessee dropped an absolute dud against Houston, 0 points. They have played bad all year long. Cam Ward has not been living up to the quarterback that #1 overall pick. He's not getting it yet. You have some sparks, but they're so tiny it's hard to see them. As far as Arizona goes, the talent's there, no question, but they are in a very tough division, and they will need a matchup like this. You got the Rams and the Niners at 3-1, or wherever they are now that that game is gone. And then, of course, Seattle's at 3-1 too. I believe that Arizona will need this matchup, and luckily, they're playing the Titans. What's the worst that can happen? We have a pair of 3-1 teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. Tampa Bay just got done losing, but almost came back to beat Philadelphia. They just had some blunders at the end there that just didn't work out for them. And as far as Seattle goes, I mean, this team's been very strong. Ever since the San Francisco matchup, they've been really tough. They have played very well, and I'm very impressed with them. Going to Pittsburgh, winning, beating New Orleans, and then you got done beating Arizona. So it's not like they played someone super impressive. It's like with Tampa Bay, they've played Atlanta, okay, Houston, whatever. Most of their games have come down to 1 score, and they also barely got a win over the New York Jets. So it's not like these teams have huge accolades to show outside of their good records. I'm looking at the teams overall, and I really love Tampa Bay's lineup, like up and down. Even if you take Mike Evans out, you got Egbuka, who's just been explosive this year. He's been a very big talent, a very clutch player, really high talent and performance. So I believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will walk into Seattle, win win a very close one, 24-23. I really love Tampa Bay's chances in this matchup. They have so much talent. It's so hard to pick against them in this matchup where I thought Seattle was just going to be a kind of meh team. They're a good team, but not like Tampa Bay's offense is. This matchup would be a lot nicer if Joe Burrow was healthy, but with the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals, Detroit's at 3-1, Cincinnati's at 2-2. Not having Joe Burrow in here is just a disaster for Cincinnati, and you're facing against a very talented offense. Detroit is going to win this matchup 35-9. When you look at this Detroit offense up and down, they lost coordinators, both from the offense and the defense, and yet they have not lost a step. This is a great team. Amon-Ra St. Brown leads the league in reception touchdowns this year. I mean, he's doing super well. Jahmyr Gibbs is a strong player. Jared Goff is still as smart as you can get for a system like that. I believe that Detroit is just gonna run right over Cincinnati. They got nothing going for them. Next up, you have the Commanders versus the Chargers. Washington is at 2-2. The Chargers just suffered their first loss against the Giants, and they're sitting at 3-1. And I believe that Jayden Daniels is going to come back, but here's the issue. Washington has not been super consistent this year. In the early going, I have not really liked what they've done offensively. I think it could be a lot better. I mean, they had a really good games against the Raiders. I don't know what happened against Atlanta. I don't know how you lose that matchup. But then again, I don't know how you lose to the Giants like the Chargers did. I believe the Chargers have a defense that has a scheme that's ready for something like this. I believe they'll win this matchup 27-23. It's not super far-fetched to say that. I believe that Jim Harbaugh has been leading this team very well. If you lose this matchup, that's not good, because Kansas City looks like they're starting to catch their stride, and Denver, I mean, you can't count them out with the defense that they have. So the Chargers, they really need to win this matchup, and I believe they will. And then you got Sunday Night Football between the 2-2 New England Patriots and the undefeated Buffalo Bills. Good job, New England. I mean, very, very good win against Carolina. It's Carolina, but it was a big win, a big morale boost going into a matchup like this in a very hostile environment with an undefeated team. This is those matchups, though, that will be very close, and you'll see a lot of talent on both sides. It's also Stephon Diggs returned to Buffalo for the first time since his departure to Houston. I mean, this is going to be a big-time matchup for Drake Maye. This is a student in the AFC East versus the master, which is currently Josh Allen. Right now, I believe that Drake Maye's not ready for the challenge. I believe that Buffalo's going to win 26-19. I believe that it's hard to beat Josh Allen in Buffalo, no matter the circumstances. He is a beast for these kind of games, and Buffalo is on a roll. It'll be very close. New England will be able to hang their hat on that, at least. And then you got Monday Night Football between the 2-2 Kansas City Chiefs and the 3-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars have been very impressive this year. I've loved watching them play so far. Close win against Houston, that's not that great. But you took down the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. To be fair, they're super injured, and it just sucks overall. I believe Jacksonville has so far looked very impressive, but, you know, they can always do better, and this is going to be the toughest matchup they've had so far. I mean, the Bengals were very tough until Joe Burrow went out, and yet they still lost that game somehow. And so with Kansas City, I believe that the issue with Jacksonville is that Kansas City found their mark against Baltimore. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it looks like any single time I start doubting the Chiefs, they come back to being the Kansas City Chiefs. And unfortunately, they're hitting their stride at the worst time for Jacksonville. I'm going to take Kansas City to win 24-20. Overall, Kansas City needs to win this game and hope for a Washington win, get back into that division, and take a good control of it, because I don't want them to be fighting for that spot all the way up and down. So they're going to need to get that lead and hold it, because they're going to have very tough matchups this year. It's just the way the Chiefs' kingdom goes. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you do, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe, and go follow me on all my social medias, as I tend to post stuff on those social medias, especially TikTok. You're seeing shorts come out there very often. Instagram, Facebook, you're seeing them happen there as well. Be there, comment, be respectful in the comments, ask questions, and have a good time here on this channel. So I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.